Yes, I returned the Pixel 4 XL, and if you happen to be in your return window, I think you should too. Hey, what is up everyone? Adam here, welcome back to the channel. So about 2 weeks ago, I posted this video to TikTok. I was really excited about getting back to stock Android and everything that came with it. And overall, I love the experience of using the Pixel 4 XL. And yet, here I am, pixelless, and back on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. So what happened? It's not that I think the Pixel 4 or the Pixel 4 XL are bad phones. I actually think they're really good phones overall, and my experience with the Pixel 4 XL was really enjoyable. The main reason why I feel that if you can return the Pixel 4 or Pixel 4 XL at this point, you should, is this. The Pixel 4 and Pixel 4 XL are about to have some really nice discounts, some even directly from Google. There's going to be some other carrier discounts, it seems, that if you activate a line, you can get even more money off, so that might be more beneficial for you. But the one that I look at that seems the most attractive is the $200 off from Google directly, in which there's no strings attached. One of the minor gripes I had with the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL was their starting prices. At $799 and $899 respectively, I thought these were a little bit too high given the competition and given some of the features that were lacking in the phone. But with Google now set to offer $200 off each device, making the Pixel 4 start at $599 and the Pixel 4 XL start at $699, I think these are really, really attractive prices. Now, price wasn't my only issue with the phone. There's some other issues that I have with this phone that we're going to go over, but that leads to the next question. Is the $200 price drop enough to get me to go back and purchase the Pixel 4 XL again? That's a good question. Let's get into some of the things I liked about the device and some things I didn't like about the device. So starting with what I liked about the device is, number one, the 90 Hz OLED screen. This screen is beautiful, it's responsive, the 90 Hz refresh rate really makes Android 10 shine. I think overall, even with the top and bottom bezels, that actually kind of faded into the background, and having that full screen experience as opposed to a cutout or a notch was actually more enjoyable than I realized, and it actually made me realize that I really dislike the notch and the cutout when I thought otherwise before using this phone. Now, another feature I liked about this phone is, of course, the camera. Now, the regular wide-angle lens took some really nice shots, and portrait mode is also amazing. In both instances, I felt like the photos were a little on the contrasty side and a little on the darker and cooler tone of the spectrum, but I still loved the images that this camera was able to produce. Check out some of these photos from the regular wide-angle lens as well as the portrait mode. Now, another surprising feature of the camera that I didn't expect to like as much as I did was the 8x digital zoom. And as you're going to see for some of these pictures, it was really impressive how you can get so close to an object and still retain a lot of the quality of the image itself. Night mode, a staple of Pixel phones, is also very good. Again, a little on the cooler side, but I think given that it's night mode, I like the pictures that come from this phone from a night mode perspective to be a little on the cooler side, because that's frankly what the image looked like more to me when I was taking it. And last but not least, astrophotography. Now, this was a cool feature, so I'm listening as a positive, but I'm not exactly sure how useful it is given where I live and the proximity to the city and light pollution in general. It's probably not something I'm going to be using a lot, but it's a cool feature to have, and I'm always up for having more features than not having features and choosing when to use them and when not to use them. Another standout feature of this phone is Face Unlock with the radar component, which detected when you were getting close to the device. The Face ID sensors unlocked the phone very quickly and got you right into using the phone. Now, this was really refreshing because I'm coming from the iPhone, in which once you unlock the phone using Face ID, you still had to swipe up to get into the phone. with the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL, as soon as your phone unlocks with your face, you're right into the phone and using it, and I think that is exactly the way it should be. Now, the design actually grew on me, and for two reasons. One, I thought as I said before, I thought the bezels would get on my nerves a little bit, but the fact that it's a full screen and with slightly larger bezels, I think that actually is better than having a notch or a cutout, which I feel now gets in the way of your viewing experience. Let's stick with design. I feel like the dimensions of this phone are really good, especially given the size of the 4XL. It allowed me to use the phone one-handed fairly easily. The back of the phone is a matte glass that actually was very grippy, as well as the sides. The side material made it so that it really felt good holding it in one hand, and I didn't feel like I was going to drop it. Now, I did buy a case from Google, that fabric case that they have, which I think looks really nice, but I really didn't think it was a good case. It felt kind of on the cheap side, felt a little like cardboard, and it was still slippery. So I felt like, given how the phone feels without the case, I really didn't need it. So I returned the case and I went caseless the whole time I had the phone. And now let's talk about some of the negatives of the device and some of the reasons why I was on the fence about whether to hold on to this device or return it like I did. Number one on this list is battery. Now, I got about 5.5 hours of screen on time on average every day. I take the phone off the charger at 5:30 a.m., give or take, and then I'd probably have to put it back on the charger in and around 6 p.m. every night. I'd have about 10% battery left at that point. Now, if I just charged it during the day for a half hour or 45 minutes, I'd have no issue getting through the entire day. And that kind of battery is okay for your average workday because typically you're at your desk at some point and can charge the phone. Where it gets a little on the dicey side for me was on the weekends when I'm out with my family, or we're running errands, or we're going to visit family with the kids, and I'm not always in front of a charger. I don't always have a charger with me. So that's when the battery became an issue on the weekends, when I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get home before my phone died. Now, for the most part, I was able to, but it was still not as good of a battery as I was hoping for the $899 price tag, and maybe I was a little spoiled, to be fair, with the battery on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. One other note about the battery life on the Pixel 4 was a lot worse than the Pixel 4 XL. So if the Pixel 4 XL battery has you on the fence, I would probably not go with the Pixel 4, as I saw screen on times ranging from 3.5 to 4 hours at most, and that might not cut it for some of you out there. Another issue I have with this phone is the screen brightness. Now, I love the screen. As I said, the 90 Hz OLED screen is beautiful, but brightness was an issue when I was outside. So I had a harder time seeing the screen in either direct sunlight or even indirect sunlight. Even cranking it all the way up, I found the screen brightness to be a little on the lacking side, and I would have liked it to have been a little brighter. Another issue I have with the phone are video options. Now, I didn't say video quality because I was actually impressed with the quality compared to what I was expecting. So 4K 30 frames per second and 1080p 60 frames per second actually looked pretty good to me when I was looking at the footage that I shot. In addition, image stabilization was very good. I thought the colors that the video captured were fairly accurate. And overall, I think the video that this camera can take is pretty good. What I'm disappointed with is lacking the option to have 4K 60 frames per second and 24 frames per second. And then on the 1080p side, the 24 frames per second as well is lacking. But again, I'm not trying to nitpick here, but as a tech enthusiast, I like having options. So not having the option for something, even if I'm not going to use it a lot, it just sometimes gets to me where I feel like I'm missing out on something, even though I might not use it a lot. And piggybacking off that is not having a wide angle lens. Now, I do think that I was using the telephoto lens on the Pixel 4 XL more than I used the wide angle lens on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I thought that was more useful, but I like having the option, again, of having the wide angle lens, because if you're gonna be creative, or you wanna be creative, and you want some shots maybe of landscapes that would look really stunning with a wide angle lens, I just like having the option, so not having the option was a little disappointing. And now we get to motion gestures. I can't really count this as a negative because I really didn't use them that much. They were basically an afterthought. I really didn't even think about using them, I guess even in scenarios that I could use them. So I guess for now, I'm just gonna leave this as a not applicable category, and maybe down the road, if I happen to pick up this phone again, I'll either learn to use them or they'll just continue to be an afterthought. So those are really the only issues I had with the phone. And there were more issues when the prices of the phones were $799 and $899. But $599 and $699 for the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL are great prices, which also combined with a great user experience means that these phones are really something that you should be considering if you're looking for that pure Android Google experience in some great hardware with an amazing camera. Does the price drop mean I'm gonna go back out and pick up the Pixel 4 XL directly from Google once they have their deal? I think the answer is yes. There's so many good things about this phone that make me want to go out and buy it again, especially at $699. Have you already picked up the Pixel 4 and Pixel 4 XL? Are you happy with your purchase? If you're still within your return window, are you planning on returning it and buying it again? Or are you just planning on skipping the Pixel 4 altogether? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I have for today. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.